Well, he's been creating waves here in France even before officially throwing his hat into the ring. Far-right media pundit Eric Zemmour has now done just that, announcing his candidacy for next April's presidential election. The man, sometimes dubbed the French Trump, shot up in opinion polls in September and October, but his popularity appears to have plateaued since. Well, for more, France 24's French politics editor Marc Perelman joins me here in studio. Marc, Zemmour says he's set to save France. That's why he's running for president. Tell us a little bit more about what he's saying in his pre-launch campaign video.
Well, what's interesting is how he said it. First of all, it was a video that was distributed through his social networks, and you see him sitting in an old-style library with an old-style microphone hanging, and it reminded people, obviously, of Charles de Gaulle in London calling for the French to resist. And so he was reading from a script, and then there were images of him, of violence in the street, immigration, all the themes that he's been harping on for years as a journalist. But he says, now it's time for me to take my responsibility. And so, yes, I will be the candidate in order to save France. But first of all, he described what he calls the feeling of dispossession, that so many French have been feeling that their country was not theirs anymore, that they were being replaced. This is a way for him to talk about this theory that he has essentially been running on, the big replacement, that the original French people were being replaced by others, by immigrants, by Muslims, and that they now needed to reclaim their country. And how can they do it? By supporting him. He said, yes, I will be vilified by all the elites. They will really treat me like dirt and step on me, but I will not shut up because you will not shut up anymore. You've been ashamed for years. Now you're going to stand up and essentially fight to essentially have a France that was the France of yesteryears. You had images of the old-style France that he was really talking about in very in terms that reminded him of cherished times and that had disappeared. And he's saying, you know, I'm going to take the flag and run this campaign on this theme to have France as it was many years ago.
And Marc, if opinion polls can be believed, it seems that his popularity, it's plateaued somewhat in recent weeks. What do you make of his chances to actually win the presidency next year?
Well, clearly he needed to step in because he had been rising in the polls quite incredibly. Some polls even put him in the second round of the presidential election against Emmanuel Macron, and he was really toe-in-toe with the previous owner, if I may call it this way, of the far right, Marine Le Pen. And in recent weeks, it's true that she's been regaining some ground. However, he didn't crash in the polls, but there were tensions within his campaign that he needed really to clarify his position, and he did it now because he believes it's time. And also a few days before the center-right party, Les Républicains, will have their own candidate designated through internal vote. So he needs to step in, and he's hoping that he can regain the momentum. Obviously, it's a very hard road ahead. He's not a professional politician. He also has to gather 500 signatures of elected officials, which is not easy if you don't have a party structure. He doesn't have that, so he's hoping that he can regain the momentum, but the next few weeks will be crucial for him because either he can regain his mojo or he will crash in the polls, and that will certainly benefit Marine Le Pen.
It's a crowded field of candidates there already that he's entering. French politics editor here at France 24, Marc Perelman, thank you for joining us.